I created a HYROX workout logging app using Softr, Airtable, and Claude, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did that. So I am on the app, or I'm in the app right now, and it's at logger.training. As of right now, I haven't enabled a way for anybody who wants to sign up and log in. It was being used pretty extensively before. Right now, it's essentially just like a sandbox. I might open it up at some point in the future, or I might just create a brand new app based off of some of this architecture. So follow along on my channel for updates there. I'm gonna just walk you through everything regarding like how I did this. So all of this data, essentially, lives in this Airtable database right here. So as you can see, we have users. It's just me right now, and then programs. I have these four programs right here. Program sessions. It's all the sessions, the session name, the summary, all this data right here. It's essentially just dummy data. I asked Claude to write me a 4 week, 6 week, 8 week, and 12 week program. And it did an okay job. Will be honest, not amazing. I wouldn't recommend following what it output. Primarily for like a couple of reasons. One, it gave me a couple like back to back really hard days, which you can see like right here, these red ones. And also it didn't like label the focuses correctly. So when I think of a HYROX workout, it's for me, and due to the past experience that I have with working with various coaches, it's either an engine workout, which would be AMRAP, or interval, or it would be an easy zone two, or it would be recovery, or it would be strength. I think that covers all of them. And Claude didn't do an amazing job at mapping, the focus types to the actual workout either. So, but that being said, like it did come up with some pretty interesting, workouts that do look kind of fun. So, if you have been training, for a while, and you can kind of like pick and choose what to do. Maybe not the, the worst thing there, but yeah, honestly, overall, if you want really good results, I'd recommend working with a coach. So that being said, back to Softr. So like this is all built in Softr right here. I'm not really going to go into the Softr interface like too much. It's basically just like front of house for how everything kind of like looks, and then Airtable is just like the database that everything is being pulled from, and then I have all these automations in here that do different things, run different scripts when different things happen within within Softr. So I'm on the homepage right now within Logger, and just gonna like break that down for you. So we have the homepage, which is just the days. It auto shows you today's date, and then it breaks everything down by the focus. So as I mentioned previously, strength, the engine type, recovery, or easy cardio, and then it's going to color code those as well. And then if you haven't done something on a certain day, you can either do a quick log or you can log a program workout. So I'm going to come back to these, and I'm just going to go over, the workout for today, and then how all of that is structured. So one caveat, which you can kind of see, due to the fact that everything was built in Airtable and Softr, there's a little bit of latency, just due to these scripts taking a while to run and then show on the front end. Um, but everything does still work. And like honestly, if you were in the gym, I mean, you're basically just going to pull this workout up and do it. So like the latency is not going to be like a huge deal. But just so you know, if you are trying to build any sort of production level app using Software and Airtable in the future, that is definitely a thing. And then like the more data you have in here, so like there's not everything on this front end on this page is pulling from this right here. So you can see there are only 113 rows. The longer this gets, the more latency like you'll have. Anyway, just walking through this. So this would be like day one for me, and I just went ahead and already marked it as complete. But just running through everything. So if I didn't want to view it like this, and I just wanted to view it as a text view, just click that button, and then it'll just show like a bigger block in case people want to see that. um I can reschedule this workout to a different date. So I could like pick a different date on my calendar if I wanted to, and then it'll move it to that date. Um, and then I can skip it if I want, and it'll basically just like yeah remove it from like my calendar, and it won't have it programmed for me anymore. And then we have like the workout description, which ideally would link to a video from a coach, and then it will show the the warm up, and then you can log it, and it does actually have state management for that. So I just put complete, and then I could write in what I did, and be very explicit in regards to what I did, or I could just say, went well, or honestly, like whatever, makes it the easiest, for you to be able to look back on this and, understand how well it went, or, any modifications that you made or anything along those lines. And then, yeah, same for this. It's going to show, the different strength workouts. And this isn't going to be like working right now because, I haven't really done any, or I haven't logged any of these workouts, but, something that I've noticed in the gym is, especially, running through HYROX workouts, being able to like track progress. I feel like a good way to do it is understanding, what I did in a past session, and then, comparing it to where I think I'm at right now, what I think I can do, just gives, more information really quickly. So, I think it's going to show anything. Yeah. But that would just show, all the strength, like the strength sessions compiled, for, all the past dates, that, were similar to this. Same for that. Um, and then I already logged this one, but it basically just asks for like, did I complete it or skip it? How many minutes did I do it? How did I feel? What was the RPE on a scale of 1 to 10, and then how it went. That's this can be, you can add kind of whatever you want in there. You can be very detail oriented, or you don't have to. And then if you're coming back in here later and you want to edit it, you just hit this edit button, and then you can change any of this. Set 2 exclamation points, and then it'll update it in within the application. Oops. All right, and then as you can see here as well, so something that I also noticed, for HYROX workouts is like, especially if you're doing like an AMRAP. I mean, it doesn't matter as much for, sorry, if you're doing an EMOM, or yeah, I guess an AMRAP, or some sort of kind of like Tabata workout. It's really hard to like find I feel like a good application that helps you do that. There are some workout apps, that have like training programs in them. For example, Train Heroic has like a really solid workout timer. But if you're not using Train Heroic, and you're kind of just doing your own thing, you don't have access to a clock on the wall. I just wanted to make it, so that was super easy for people, so they could have a workout timer for when they were doing this workout. So I built this. You just click this, and this is actually, yeah, this is live. It just goes to hyroxworkouttimer.com, and then it lets you pick the different things that you might want to do. So if you're going to do an EMOM, you can pick how many minutes you're going to do it for, and then yeah, the interval, and then it has sounds, and notifications and everything, as you can see. Round one. And then it'll let you know when you have 5 seconds left, so you can get ready for the next one. Pretty same with Tabata. You can change the work and the rest. There's a AMRAP timer as well, and that will let you actually increment or decrement, the amount of rounds that you completed. You can pause it, reset it, and then there's a rest timer as well. So, just adding stuff in here just to make it as easy as possible for people to get into the gym and do the workout. I also have this equipment substitutions guide. This works way better on the phone. Honestly, it doesn't work at all on desktop. But if you want to substitute for sled, which yeah, there are a lot of people that are doing HYROX that just don't have access to some of these things. So it just gives you some good ideas in terms of what you can use if you can't use a certain thing. Also, it could be a good option if you're injured, and maybe for instance you can run. So instead, what does it offer up for that? Yeah. Maybe, you do the assault bike, or the biker, or the elliptical, or the, ski erg. And then this ideally would go to, a community, something like circle.so, where people can ask coaches questions, about like training. You could, list a bunch of events coming up. If there's some sort of issue within the app, people could report that, and customer service, could help out. Ideally, that would be routed to something like Notion or, Monday. Some sort of weekly recap space I feel like works really well in a community, just so that people are able to update each other on their progress, and it's a really nice feedback loop. Race results in a community is also super helpful. It just gives people a way to like let other people know how well their race went, what they could maybe improve in the future, what they're really stoked about, and yeah, just really helps people to kind of rally behind each other. Found this is a really helpful one to take. Which program should I take? In the past, actually, I, built a program picker that asks users just like a couple upfront questions based on, their current fitness, how long they've been training for, when their next race is, so on and so forth, and then gives them a suggestion for which HYROX program to take. And then an athlete lounge, there's like a premium space, which creates a little bit of exclusivity and, also just like, yeah, makes people feel, special, and then, gives them, like different perks that might not be in like the base program. And yeah, what's next? So I'll hit this next. Something else that I've noticed is like, when you're training, honestly, for anything, and you're working with a program or a coach, you're not always going to do what was prescribed for the day. Life gets in the way. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you don't get enough sleep. You get sick. There are a million different reasons. So giving people a way to, log their own type of workout. So essentially, I just, build out the, different types here so that somebody can come in and, log their own thing. So say you just want to do your own strength session. And it's got that past tab, or cardio session. It's got that past tab as well. So you can see any past cardio sessions that you've done. Just add a date, title, time, RPE, the cardio type, how far you went in, kilometers. Probably should add something so that you can toggle that between kilometers and miles, and then how it went, and then that'll just show on your like calendar essentially for the day when you click here. And then that's the quick log, and then and this is going to take probably a little bit to load. Log a program workout is just going to go to this tab right here. And this just spins out for a little bit, just, yeah, due to what I mentioned before. This is built in Airtable and Softr, and it's just taken a while to sync these programs right here. So I'm already subscribed to two programs, and I'm just going to, yeah, open this up right now so you can see how this view looks. And it's just a different way to look at, the workouts that you have coming up. So it's going to give you the name. It's going to, give you like the title right here. You can schedule it or reschedule it, or you can skip it. And if you skip it, it's just going to, show up down here. And then it just, gives you an easy way to kind of like view what you have coming up for like, the current week, which you can also do that from the home screen if you want to. And then next up, yeah, I'll just show you essentially how this works. So somebody, when they first sign up, they are given the ability to, well, actually, this is always here, but the only thing they'll see is add a new program. So I just have, as mentioned, these four in here, and you can break them out by experience level and then program type. I feel like this is a really good way. Well, this is a pretty good way to break out experience levels, which I think, another good way to do that. Well, a way to associate experience levels, with like past training is, somebody is probably like likely a beginner if, they're training around like 0 to like 3-ish, maybe 4-ish hours a week. Intermediate is, I would say like 4-ish to like 10, and then advanced, would be 10 plus. And a good way to benchmark that would be like, what have you been doing for the past 6 months? So you can break these up that way. And then in terms of the program type, I feel like this is also a really good way to break things up there. So like somebody's new to HYROX, they should do, a new to HYROX program. If somebody is not in a race prep phase, meaning that they, have 16 plus weeks until, they are going to be preparing for a race, building their aerobic engine. Yeah, just strength or really working on their weaknesses is going to be very advantageous to them. These are, these should just be like some add-on programs. So, say for example, like you want to get better at wall balls or you want to get better at burpee broad jumps, and you want to, supplement one of these and just kind of like stack the workouts. You could, choose one of those. And then these race prep programs. So these right here are all race prep programs. This assumes that you have a race in like 12-ish weeks, 8-ish weeks, 6, and 4. So this, could be if, a coach, had like a ton of programs, then these, yeah, like these would be very helpful. But due to the fact there's only 4 right here, yeah, it's not super necessary. And then a user can, as mentioned, view or they can subscribe to a program. So if they want to subscribe to a program, adding in like what their goal is, I feel like is helpful. Maybe it's, a PR. So let's say, sub 110 in men's pro Houston. And then you hit this if you want to add all the sessions to your calendar, which is what you saw on the home screen. There really isn't too much of a reason that you want to do that, but yeah, just added that there just in case. And then you can choose when you want to start it. So maybe you don't want to start your training until, like Monday of next week or Tuesday, or, whatever. It just gives you the opportunity to do that. And then it gives you the opportunity to, start on the week that you want to start on. And then you can subscribe to that program, and it'll just add it to your calendar. And yeah, you'll also be able to see it in my programs. Additionally, in my programs, so once you subscribe to a program and start taking it, it's just gonna live on your My Programs page, and you have the option to do as you want with these. Not really recommended that you subscribe to more than one active program at once, just due to the fact that like you're probably not going to be as concentrated on the one. If you have like 6 or 7, it's just going to clutter your dashboard and whatnot. So just giving users the ability to pause, complete, archive, or delete a program. If you delete a program, it's going to actually delete it from Airtable completely. But you can just pause it or archive it. So if you pause it, it's just going to create a new grouping, and then it'll add that program to there, and then you can reactivate it, and it'll bring it up to active programs. And yeah, it's basically the same for archiving it. So pause there. Maybe you want to come back to that program at some point. Archive is yeah, you don't really want to deal with it right now. You don't know what you want to do with it, but you also don't want to delete it. Let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, I think honestly, for the most part, that's it. Oh, yeah. So if I was gonna redo this, or if I was gonna basically start this project today, what would I do differently? So I started building this, I think about like 9 or 10 months ago, and I spent like over 1,000 hours working on it. It was a great experience for me. I learned a lot. Also, AI tools at that time were not as good as they are now. Yeah, Claude and is way better. I I built a lot of this using ChatGPT, and then at the end I use Claude. But if I was gonna build this entire thing starting today, what I would do is just use Claude, and then I would build it using React Native. Just because like I mean, just to give you a little bit of context, I in a past life was a web developer, but I mean, it was mainly like WordPress websites and like front end development. I know a little bit of object oriented programming and like, I understand like the workflow processes for like app development to an extent because, I went to a code school and I was a TA for a little bit, but, um, you know, in terms of being able to create and launch an app that works in the app store, absolutely no way I could have done that 9 months ago. And AI tools, I don't think we're in a place where you could have done that 9 months ago. But now, case in point, I mean, I actually am working on a React Native app that I have some help with an actual React Native developer. and then I'm gonna hand it off to somebody that does UI UX, and working with those people is very very helpful. But I think honestly, with a bit of tenacity, I could figure out how to do it myself. So that being said, yeah, I would build this entire thing in React Native, so that it could be purchased in the App Store, and used as an app on your phone, in both iOS and Android. And I would probably use Supabase for the database instead of Airtable, just so like it didn't have all the lag time. And yeah, was just a bit faster and a bit reliable, little bit more reliable deployment. And then yeah, just standard Git and GitHub. That being said, I didn't use any of that stuff for this, and people were using this app in the past, and people did like it in the past. So I think like my parting advice, for you, if you're thinking about working on a project of a similar nature, is just like don't wait to get started, whatever it is, and you know, you'll learn stuff along the way. Maybe you'll figure out it's not a thing that you want to do, and you'll move on to the other thing, or maybe you'll finish it and feel really good, and have a yeah, just a nice sense of achievement there, and that'll lead to building other things. So I think the world is really your oyster with this stuff. I'll be creating more videos like this, and I'm also going to be creating a creator community. So I'll post about that in the description, and definitely like and subscribe for more of this content in the future. Alrighty, thank you so much for being here.